Hello and welcome. As you can see here, I have drawn both the brain and the heart so that you can get a clear reference for what I'm about to talk about. So basically, we are very aware that this is the command center and this is one of the most vital organs that our body runs because of. So it is simply two of the most important organs for any body. Now, I will explain to you how exactly the heart and the brain are connected, but first, I think I'll have to give you a certain understanding of the brain and the heart separately. So, let me start with the heart because the heart has a much cleaner and smaller framing, which I think could be conveyed in a much better way. But first, we'll have to talk about the composition of the nervous system of our body and what it has. For now, I will talk about ANS, SNS, PNS. Okay, SNS and PNS is the sympathetic nervous system and uh, parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, and then you've got ANS, which is the autonomous nervous system. Okay, so as you can see, as the name suggests, autonomous nervous system is all your functions that are working on automated mode. They are in control themselves. You do not have to force feed a signal for them to work, like breathing, digestion, things like that. So then comes in the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. Now, the difference between these two is the sympathetic nervous system is like a fight or flight mode. When you cannot process, it takes over. There are things that you cannot take decisions for. If you're in a situation that is out of your control, it takes over, and that's like based on your heart rate, your heartbeat, your adrenaline, and things like that. So your cortisol levels, if they increase too much, it takes over. Now, the parasympathetic nervous system is what connects the brain to the entire body and all the organs. So it has a direct control on it, the brain stem that is connected to it, to the parasympathetic nerve, which is the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve is directly connected to the heart. Okay, so there's a direct link of communication between the brain and the heart, whereas the brain has 86 billion neurons. The heart has its own neurons, 40,000, so it has its own thinking and positioning independent of the brain, which makes it one of the most, to the brain, it is not just under it, it is equal in sense. Okay, let's talk about the um, brain and how some of its influence works. Okay, so I hope you understood the ANSPNS. Okay, so I'll make a different video for it, don't worry. So the brain, there are two hemispheres, the left and right hemisphere. The center, you've got the corpus callosum, which connects the two hemispheres, and this is the midsectional, so this is the inside which is being seen. Now, in this, let me speak about the frontal lobe. Okay, you've got the parietal lobe, then you've got the limbic lobe, then you've got the temporal lobe, you've got the occipital lobe, and below it you've got the cerebellum. So that's the composition of the brain in general, and the roles that they play is thinking, decision making is all on the frontal lobe, and then the limbic system is where the emotions take place, the amygdala, the hippocampus. Okay, so this is where it happens, the emotional part of it. And what this does is this is directly influenced by the heart. Okay, so there's a very huge impact of how your heart is behaving to your brain's response, which is quite obvious, yes, but the way we stress, the way we interact with reality and what we constantly observe, we're always wanting a rush. We're always wanting something that gives us a, you know, gives us a rush to get a high, which could impact your body quite negatively because it cannot tell the difference between what's going on in reality and what's going on in your brain, or what's, it cannot tell. It'll take it as it's happening to you. So be careful. So I used to watch a lot of horror movies. Don't do that. Your body will react as if it's in that situation. The most interesting part now. So I will explain the brain first because I feel like some of the factors of brain has to be explained to understand the heart. So for now, the frontal lobe, parietal lobe, limbic lobe, occipital lobe, temporal lobe. Okay, temporal lobe is directly connected to your hearing, your audio, the way you take in the frequency and how those vibrations are converted into signal. It's all here on the side. Then there's the frontal lobe, which does all the decision making, thinking, your reflexes, your control on your body is all because of that. Then you've got the limbic system, limbic lobe, where your emotional and the feeling in the brain, I'd say, happens, and critical thinking is what is going on over there. And the plasticity of the brain is so magnificent that you could change their entire thinking process over a period of time. It allows you an opportunity to clear your any sense of emotional behavior patterns or any kind of attachment to an identity. Like you say, my name is my da 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 da, my da 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 da. How do you constantly attach your identity to these things? What if you could let them go? It is completely possible. Your brain will help you do that. You just need to make sure you allow yourself to do that. The brain is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful command center. It is the spectacular creation of this system is unbelievable. On top of that, these two, the more you go in depth to it, it is just wonderful. Let me tell you about now that the brain has brain waves. Okay, they're beta, alpha, theta, gamma. Okay, so it's like the stress hormone or serotonin, which would make you really happy, excited, or dopamine. These chemical reactions have direct vibrational influence on the brain. Okay, so the brain state is affected by these chemical hormones, and it also, these signals are transformed into waves, brain waves. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's important. I'll tell you why later. Now let's come to the basic connection of the brain and the heart. Now we know that the two lungs are next to the heart, right? How does that work? When you breathe, you take in air into your lungs. Your lungs take in alveoli, they hold the oxygen, okay? And those oxygen cells are converted into the cells that are taken in. You see these two? This is called the pulmonary artery, okay? This right here, this blue. It has two openings, one to the left heart, one to the right heart. This is a inverted image, so this is the right, this is the left, okay? So it is connected to the two lungs. Now this side, the left side, has the pulmonary artery, which is connected to both sides, and it takes in these oxygenated cells into the left artery, okay, and takes it down to the left ventricle, which has such a pressure that it pushes it up to the aorta, and the aortic valve into the aortic valve through the mitral. I forgot to mention, when it comes from the left atrium down to the left ventricle, it goes through the mitral valve, and then once it's in the left ventricle, it goes up the aortic valve and into the aorta, and then the aorta takes it into all parts of your body. So that's how we get oxygenated cells. That's the process. This side, you must be wondering what the hell is going on this side. So here, if it's dealing with oxygenated blood, this side is dealing with deoxygenated blood cells. Okay, only pulmonary veins carry oxygenated blood cells. Every other vein is not. It's so this is the superior vena cava, this is the inferior vena cava. The superior vena cava takes in all the deoxygenated cells from the top half of your body, and the inferior vena cava takes in from the lower half of your body. They both go into the right atrium, okay, and then come through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle, up the pulmonary artery, as you remember, and then back into the lungs to get oxygenated. It's a beautiful process. Oh, sorry, did I point to these two? These are the pulmonary veins. Each lung has two pulmonary veins connected to them. This has a lung, this has a lung. I made such a big mistake, I'm so sorry. Here, look, it's so beautifully designed, it cannot make mistakes. Every part of it is so vital, but we make mistakes. So it's not connected to the pulmonary artery, it's connected to the pulmonary veins. As I said, it is only the pulmonary veins that carry the oxygenated blood cells. Okay? And then the most beautiful part of all of this. How does the heart beat? The superior vena cava on top of it has sinoatrial node, which releases electrical impulses, which tells the valves when they open and close, and that controls the pumping of the heart. So we've got electrical impulses in the heart. And do you remember the electrical impulses of the brain? Now these two connections control all of the signaling. You've got the vagus nerve connecting the heart and the brain, which is like a parasympathetic highway, okay? And it is connected to the spinal cord. Now, the heart has baroreceptors, which are like giving direct information to the brain, beat by beat information. So it knows the heart's temperature, the heart's beat pattern, and the condition of the heart. So there's a very detailed process here. Now, Joe Dispenza's heart and brain coherence. The similitude of this is that the heart probably has more control on the brain than the brain does on the heart. All you have to do every single day is make sure you connect with your heart and calm for at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sit down and try to focus your energy on your heart and let it calm down. If you're in a very stressed situation all the time, it will affect your entire body. I need you to every single day put your hand on your heart and affirm, say a few good things that make you feel relaxed, that make you have a calm state, and visualize. Visualization is one of the most important and effective tools you can use for yourself. It's the brain taking control at a much higher level. I told you the brain cannot differentiate between reality and not. Put that to your benefit. And the heart can feel. You know, we always say, oh, feel good, but no, we're thinking good. We mostly think good. We think of things that we think will make us happy. I want a big car, I want a big house, I want a da 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 da. Does it make you bloom inside? Does it make you relax? Does it make you feel light? Do you feel like you can breathe easily on this? These are the things that are happening. You are not feeling it, but thinking it. You're thinking good, you're not feeling good. I need you to do both. Think and feel good. Together, that's when you'll really see the magic happening. So that's it for today. That's what I want. I wanted to make sure I could get you to understand the basics of the brain and the heart. I'll probably go into this in a much more detailed way later on. But for now, this is it. Thank you for watching.